As we start to learn about the 10 plagues that afflicted the Egyptians, our rabbis tell us one of the worst of the plagues was the plague of the frogs. Frogs were everywhere, in your house, in your food, at the gym, even inside you, croaking, making noise, which is unbearably painful. No functionality. And what's interesting is the Torah tells us that it uses the expression of frog in a singular way. There was a frog. So what does that mean? So Rashi tells us that what happened was one frog, huge frog, came out of the Nile, started walking into Egypt, which must have been an amazing scene, and the Egyptians started hitting the frog. And as a result, frogs started coming out in the hundreds of thousands, perhaps even hundreds of thousands of frogs that started coming out. And it's formed Egypt. And the question is, one of the great rabbis asked, why did the Egyptians continue hitting this frog? They should have stopped once they realized the frogs were coming out after they were hitting it. And he says the following idea, that in their anger, they were so angry at what was going on, they lost control. They lost the equilibrium, and they kept on hitting it. And he said a lot of times in life you see this. When you get angry, as we know, you lose your rationale. And even if it's to your detriment, you don't think of it like that. You're in the moment, and you just get angry, and it just spirals. So something to keep in mind, as a motivation, that of course is, it's never fun getting angry. Usually it's painful when you get angry at someone, but to realize that the consequences could really be much worse than you would think. At an added point is that a lot of times you look at your friends or acquaintances, people you work with, even us, we put on a good show when we're in public. But when we're in the comforts of our own home, then a lot of times that's a real way to tell what type of character we are. How, when we get upset, do we really get upset? Do we really lose control? So it's something to keep in mind, that are we just putting on a show? Or are is this who we are? There's an expression in Hebrew, and I'll say it in English, that you should never judge someone until you're in his place. And what that means is that until you're in a person's shoes, you don't know what they're going through. Maybe you would do the same thing, whatever it might be that is. So according to what we're saying, it's a new understanding. Never judge someone until you're in his place. What that means is until you're in his home, then you can't judge him. But when you're in his home, when you're in his place, literally, then you could judge him. You could see who or she is, what type of person they are. And I think we could do that self-evaluation for ourselves. What type of people are we when it comes to our private life? And that's really telling of what we could work on, what we could grow on, what we should work with, and something to think about. I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a wonderful week.